Let's see. If you guys are coming in, hold on one second. Okay. I think I'm live. I'm live, right? Hopefully. Hello, 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 hello. We'll wait for you guys to come in. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Hi, G. I am live. Hi. I know. Woohoo. I'm so excited. How are you guys? So it does show I'm live then? Good. Oh my gosh. Did you guys see the newest foodie video? We're not going to be chatting much about her today because we're going to be reading, but oh my gosh. Hi, Muse. How are you? I'm so excited you're here. So busy but good. How are you? Good. The same, yeah. Busy but good. A little sleepy. But I feel like that's just the story of my life lately. I hope everybody is doing well. Yay, you're doing good. And so I have never been a part of a book club. So I'm very excited to do this. I'm not sure exactly how you guys want to do this. Yes, I just watched the deleted promo and just please, oh gosh. The stuff that she had up that she's going to do, I was like, wow. I don't have the book, but thought I would drop in anyways. Definitely. You could listen. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, okay. Hi, hello, Miss Breezy in chat. So you guys, I'm just gonna this Tay is actually known as Erin. That's her name. Tay is her daughter's name. So that's just that. So if you guys ever hear me saying Erin and it says Tay, that's why. Feel free to call her Erin too. I think she would really like that. Hi, Amanda. How are you? Okay, so what I was thinking is we could read the prologue, the first chapter, and then talk about it if you guys want to. And then we could read the second chapter the following week, and each week we'll read one or two chapters and talk about it. I don't know if that works for you guys. Is Erin the right spelling? It's good to see you too, love my girls. How are you? Yes, that's how you spell it, G. I know, I'm so happy you guys are all here. If you don't have the book, just listen. It's supposed to be really good. There's rave reviews about it. I'm just excited to dig into it. Okay, so does that sound good, you guys? We'll read the prologue, we'll read the first chapter. We could talk about it if you guys want to, or just read and not talk, however you want to do it. All right. Should we wait a few more minutes or should we get started, you guys? Chachi, where do you want to sit? Come here. You want to sit up here? Ooh, I can't wait. That sounds good to me. Perfect. Okay, then I guess we'll just start reading. Wait, Muse, is your husband with you? I know he was going to be here too, so obviously you guys would be together, right? I just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Wait 2 more minutes. Okay. All is well, G, though I'm not accomplishing a lot today. How about you? What is the title? It's called Watching You. Yeah. How is Breezy Jr.? She is good. Thank you for asking. Chachi wants to read too. Chachi, you want to read or you want to take a little nap while I read, huh? Okay, good. You guys are together. We can wait a couple more minutes. He's here. Please tell him hi for me. I love that you guys are a couple and like watch the channel together and want to do book club. That's so cool. Chachi, I need prime sitting spot to be read to, right? Yes. Chachi, do you want to be propped up on a pillow? Would you like me to fan you off too? Yes, you spoiled. You spoiled. Okay, well, I think we should get started. Let me get comfortable. Okay. All right, is everybody ready? I will, we do, love it. That's so awesome. Couple goals. It's the only accomplishment I'm going to do today. Same girl, I'm fixing my computer while I'm listening in. Oh no, it took a, that's a bummer, G. That stinks when that happens. Okay. Let's see. So opening the book, let's see. There's the reviews. Then we see the first page, Watching You, a novel by Lisa Jewell. And it has To Selena and Johnny with Love. So, for you guys who are reading, I'm on the page where it says, My Diary, September 20th, 1996. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. Is this normal? He's an adult. He's twice my age. There's no way. No, there's no way. But oh God, I wish there was. Dear Diary, I think I'm in love with my English teacher. Okay, so now we're on the prologue. Are you guys there with me? Okay, and it says March 24th. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? I'm just going to look really fast. Can you guys hear me okay? Do I need to talk louder or... Oh, Kelly B, I see your comment. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to I'll see how long my voice lets me go for. Yep, okay. So prologue, March 24th. I may pronounce some words wrong. I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to be. Yes, you can hear me good. Okay, awesome, you guys. DC Rose Pelham kneels down. She can see something behind the kitchen door, just in front of the trash can. For a minute, she thinks it's a blood-stained twist of tissue, maybe, or an old bandage. Then she thinks perhaps it is a dead flower. But as she looks at it more closely, she could see it's a tassel, a red suede tassel, the sort that might once have been attached to a handbag or to a boot. It just sits on top of a small puddle of blood, strongly suggesting that it had fallen there in the aftermath of the murder. She photographs it in situ from many angles, and then with her gloved fingers, she plucks the tassel from the floor and drops it into an evidence bag, which she seals. She stands up and turns to survey the scene of the crime. A scruffy kitchen, old-fashioned pine units, a green aga piled with pots and pans, a large wooden table piled with table mats and exercise books and newspapers and folded washing, a small extension to the rear with a cheap timber glazed roof, double doors to the garden, a study area with a laptop, a printer, a shredder, a table lamp. It's an innocuous room, bland even, a kitchen like a million other kitchens all across the country. A kitchen for drinking coffee in, for doing homework and eating breakfast and reading newspapers in. Not a kitchen for dark secrets or crimes of passion. Not a kitchen for murdering someone in. But there on the floor is a body, splayed face down inside a large, vaguely kidney-shaped pool of blood. The knife that had been used in its kitchen sink, thoroughly washed down with a soapy sponge. The attack on the victim had been frenzied, at least 25 knife wounds to the neck, back, and shoulders. But little in the way of blood has spread to other areas of the kitchen. No handprints, no smear, no spatters, leading Rose to the conclusion that the attack had been unexpected, fast, and efficient, and that the victim had little chance to put up a fight. Rose takes a marker pen from her jacket pocket and writes on the bag containing the red suede tassel. Description: red suede, suede tassel. Location: in front of fridge, just inside door from hallway. Date and time of collection: Friday, March 24th, 2017, 11:48 p.m. It's probably nothing, she muses, just a thing fallen from a fancy handbag. But nothing was often everything in forensics. Nothing could often be the answer to the whole bloody thing. Okay, let me look at the chat really fast. Lol, Aga looks like you need a 500 to operate. They are pretty though. You need a 500 ph book to. Okay. It's a British brand of an oven. Okay. Oh, yep, we're getting into murder. All right, so let me take a sip of water and we'll get to part one. I'm hoping everybody can hear me okay. All right. So we are in chapter 1, January 2nd. Experienced people use left knife cuts. Ooh, that's true. To everyone tuning in now, we are reading the prologue. Thank you. I'm loving this. I'm so glad audio's still good. All right, thank you guys. Okay. I am ready. Okay, chapter 1, January 2nd. Joey Mullen laid the flowers against the gravestone and ran her fingertip across the words engraved in the pink-veined granite. Sarah Jane Mullen, 1962 to 2016. Beloved mother of Jack and Josephine. Happy New Year, Mom, she said. I'm sorry I didn't come to see you yesterday. Alfie and I had shocking hangovers. We went to a party over in Frenchay at Candy's new flat. Remember Candy? Candy Boyd? She was in my year at school. She had all that long blonde hair that she could sit on. You really liked her because she always said hello to you if she passed you on the street. Anyway, she's doing really well. She's a physiotherapist or a chiropractor? Anyway, something like that. She cried when I told her you were dead. Everyone cries when I tell them. Everyone loved you so much, Mom. Everyone wished you were their mom. I was so lucky to have a mom like you. I wish I hadn't stayed away for so long now. If I'd known what was going to happen, I would never have gone away at all. And I'm sorry you never got to meet Alfie. He's adorable. He works at a wine bar in town right now, but he wants to be a painter, decorator. He's at his mom's now, actually, painting her kitchen. Or at least he's supposed to be. She probably made him sit down and watch TV with her, knowing her and him. He's a bit of a procrastinator. Takes him a while to get going, but you'd love him, Mom. He's the cutest, sweetest, nicest guy, and he's so in love with me. And he treats me so well. And I know how much of a worry I was to you when I was younger. I know what I put you through, and I'm so, so sorry. But I wish you could see me now. I'm growing up, Mom. I'm finally growing up, she sighed. Anyway, I'd better go now. It'll be getting dark soon, and then I'll really get scared. I love you, Mom. I miss you. I wish you weren't dead. I wish I could go to your house and have a cup of tea with you, have a good gossip, have a bitch about Jack and Rebecca. I could tell you about the gold taps. Or maybe I could tell you about the gold taps now. No, I'll tell you about the gold taps next time. Give you something to look forward to. Sleep tight, Mom. I love you. Joey climbed the steep lane from Lower Melville to the parade of houses above. Even in the sodium gloom of January afternoon, the houses of Melville Heights popped like a row of children's building blocks. Red, yellow, turquoise, purple, lime, sage, fuchsia, red again. They sat atop a terraced embankment looking down on the small streets of Lower Melville, I guess at a private party that no one else was invited to. Iconic was the word that people used to describe this row of 27 Victoria villas. The iconic painted houses of Melville Heights. Joey had seen them from a distance for most of her life. They were the sign that she was less than 20 minutes from home on long car journeys of her childhood. They followed her to work. They guided her home again. She'd been to a party once in the Pink House when she was a student, split crudely into flats and bedsits, smelling of damp and cooked mints. It hadn't felt bright pink on the inside, but the views from up there were breathtaking. The River Avon pausing to arc picturesquely on its mile-long journey to the city. The patchwork fields beyond, the bulge of the landscape on the horizon into a plump hill crowned with trees that blossomed every spring into the puffballs of hopeful green. She dreamed of living up there as a child, oscillated between which house would be hers, the lilac or the pink. And as she grew older, the sky blue or the sage. And now at 26, she found herself living in the cobalt blue house, number 14. Not a sign of lifetime of hard work and rich rewards, but a rich benefit of her older brother's lifetime of hard work and rich rewards. Jack was 10 years older than Joey and a consultant heart surgeon at Bristol General Hospital, one of the youngest in the country's history. 2 years ago, he married a woman called Rebecca. Rebecca was nice, but brittle and rather humorless. Joey had always thought her lovely brother would end up with a fun-loving, no-nonsense nurse or maybe a jolly children's doctor. But for some reason, he'd chosen a straight-laced systems analysis from Staffordshire. Oh, sorry, you guys. Am I missing anything? Oh, I know. The conversation with her mom. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I just had to peek because I saw the chat moving. Okay. Where did I just leave off? Okay. I think I'm at they'd bought their cobalt house 10 months ago when Joey was still farting about in the Billericks hosting foam parties. She hadn't even realized it was one of the painted houses until Jack had taken her to see it when she moved back to Bristol 3 months ago. "You bought a painted house," she said, her hand against her heart. "You bought a painted house, and you didn't tell me." "You didn't ask," he responded. "And anyway, it wasn't my idea. It was Rebecca's. She virtually bribed the old lady who was living here to sell it. Said it was literally the only house in Bristol she wanted to live in." "It's beautiful," she'd said, her eyes roaming over the tasteful interior of taupe and teal and copper and gray, the most beautiful house I've ever seen. "I'm glad you like it," Jack had said, "because Rebecca and I were wondering if you two would like to live here for a while, just until you get yourself sorted out." "Oh my God," she said, her hand at her mouth. "Are you serious? Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure," he replied, taking her by the hand. "Come and see the attic room. It's completely self-contained, perfect for a pair of newlyweds." He nudged her and grinned at her. Joey had grinned back. No one was more surprised than she was that she had come back from Ibiza with a husband. His name was Alfie Butter, and he was very good-looking. Far too good-looking for her, or at least so she thought in the aqua haze of Ibiza nights. Excuse me, guys. In the gunmetal gloom of a Bristol winter, the blue eyes were just blue. The Titan hair was just red. The golden tan was just sun damage. Alfie was just a regular guy. They'd married barefoot on the beach. Joey had worn a pink chiffon slip dress and carried a posy of pink and, I'm going to say this wrong, you guys, peridot lantanas? Sure. I have no clue how to say that. Alfie had worn a white t-shirt, a white t-shirt and pink shorts, and a white, oh, here we go again, bougainvillea blossom in his hair. Their marriage had been witnessed by the managers of the hotel where they both worked. Afterward, they'd had a dinner on a terrace with a few friends, taken a few pills, danced until the sun came up, spent the next day in bed, and then and only then did they phone their families to tell them what they'd done. Let me get a sip of water, you guys. Why is this so good already? This is such a good book. Okay. Did I end at, and they phoned their families to tell them what they'd done? She would have a proper wedding if her mother had still been alive. But she was dead, and Joey's dad was not really a wedding kind of man, nor a flying out to Ibiza kind of man. And Joey's parents had themselves married secretly at Gretna Green when her mom was 4 months pregnant with Jack. Ah, well, he said with a note of relief, I suppose it's a family tradition. Hi, she called out in the hallway, testing for the presence of her sister-in-law. Rebecca made a lot of noise about how delighted she was to be housing a pair of 20-something lovebirds in her immaculate brand new guest suite. It's just so brilliant that we've had space for you, really. It's just brilliant having you here. Totally brilliant. But her demeanor told a different story. She hid from them, all the time. In fact, she was hiding from Joey right now, pretending to be arranging things in their huge walk-in pantry. Oh, hi, she said, turning disingenuously at Joey's greeting, a jar of horseradish in her hand. I didn't hear you come in. Joey smiled brightly. She totally heard her coming in. There was a mug of freshly made tea still steaming on the kitchen table, a newspaper half read, a half-eaten packet of supermarket sushi. Joey pictured Rebecca Mullen twitching at the sound of Joey's key in the lock, looking for her escape, scurrying into the pantry and randomly picking up a jar of horseradish. Sorry, I did shout out hello. It's fine, I'm just... She waved the jar of horseradish at a vague arc around the pantry. Nest building? Oh, nest building? Yes, said Rebecca. Yes, I am. Nest building. Exactly. Both their eyes fell to Rebecca's rounded stomach. Her first baby was due in 4 months. It was a girl baby who would, on or around May 1st, become Joey's niece. One of the reasons Joey imagined that Rebecca had agreed to let her and Alfie have their guest suite was that Joey was a trained nursery nurse. Not that she'd touch a baby since she was 18, but still, she had all the skills. She could, in theory, change a nappy in 48 seconds flat. Let's see. There was a stained glass window halfway up the oak staircase that ran up the front of the house. Joey often stopped here to press her nose to the clear parts of the design, enjoying being able to see out without anyone seeing in. It was early afternoon, almost dusk at this time of year. The trees on the hills on the other side of the river were bare and slightly awkward. She watched a shiny black car turn from the main road in the village below and begin its ascent up the escarpment towards the terrace. The only cars that came up here were those of residents and visitors. She waited for a while longer to see who it might be. The car parked on the other side of the street, and she watched a woman get out of the passenger side. A boyish, 30-something woman with jaw-length, light brown hair, wearing a hoodie and jeans. She stood by the back door while a young boy climbed out, about 14 years old, the spitting image of her. Then a rather handsome older man got out of the driver's side, tall and leggy in a crumpled sky blue polo shirt and dark jeans. Short dark hair, white at the temples. He went to the boot of the car and pulled out 2 medium-sized suitcases, with a certain appealing effortlessness. He handed one to his son, passed a pile of coats and a carrier bag to his wife, and then they crossed the road and let themselves into the yellow house. Joey carried on up the stairs, the image of the attractive older man returning from his family Christmas break already fading from her consciousness. All right, let's see. Okay, before we do the recorded police interview on the next page, let me go ahead and see. Okay, flower pronunciation. I can't even talk right now. Flower pronunciation sounded good. Those are flowers we have in Phoenix. Oh, awesome. Okay. I tried. Some terminology she uses appear to be very childish sounding, but she was dead. Not very adultish. Notice that in other places too. Right. So her level of maturity is that Hubert weird. True. Maybe it's to distinguish her mentality or how she was thinking about the situation in her head. Like, oh, but he said, very strange. I wonder if it's on purpose. You guys already have some good questions. Awesome. Okay, and so everything's going fine still on your guys' end? You're doing awesome. Thank you, Muse. Gee, and then other news, I don't even want to fix my computer. I want to lay and have Breezy read to me. Oh my goodness, that's such a compliment, you guys. Thank you. Okay, got my sip of water in. And if you are reading along with the book, we're on part 1 of Recorded Interview. I know, that's so cute. It made me laugh out loud too. The vocal art did it. Oh, going great. Thank you, Erin. Okay, I am going back to the book. Part 1 of Recorded Interview. Date, March 25th, 2017. Location, Trinity Road Police Station, Bristol BS2 0NW. Conducted by officers from Avon and Somerset Police. Police. This interview is being tape recorded. I am Detective Inspector Rose Pelham, and I'm based at Trinity Road Police Station. I work with the Serious Crime Team. Could you please give us your full name? It says J.M. Josephine Louise Mullen. Police, and your address? J.M. 14 Melville Heights, Bristol, BS12 2GG. Police. Thank you. And can you tell us about your relationship with Tom Fitzwilliam? J.M. He lives 2 doors down. He gave me a lift into work sometimes. We chatted if we bumped into each other on the street. He knew my brother and my sister-in-law. Police, thank you. And could you now tell us where you were last night between approximately 7 p.m. and 9 p.m.? J.M. I was at the Bristol Harbor Hotel. Police, and were you there alone? J.M. Mostly. Police, mostly. Who else was there with you? J.M. Silence. Police, Miss Mullen, please, could you tell us who else was there at the Bristol Harbor Hotel? J.M. But he was only there for a few minutes. Nothing happened. It was just... Police, Miss Mullen, the name of this person, please? J.M. It was Tom Fitzwilliam. This is getting good. Okay, chapter 2. So maybe after chapter 2, you guys, chapter 2 and 3 are really short. Do you guys have time for me to read chapter 2 and 3? Or should we just read chapter 2 and stop there? I know, T, right? It's getting so good. Okay, so should we just knock 2 and 3 out, and then maybe we can come on to tomorrow and talk about what we read? Or yeah, chapter 2. I know I want to read again too. I just have to make sure I'm off at 4:30. So however we can make this work, next Tuesday I'm sure I'll have more time. I just have to do pickup and stuff. Okay, 2. We're going on. Okay, chapter 2, January 6th. Joey saw Tom Fitzwilliam again a few days later. This time it was in the village. He was coming out of the bookshop wearing a suit and talking to someone on the phone. He said goodbye to the person on the phone, pressed his finger to the screen to end the call, and slid the phone into his jacket pocket. She saw his face as he turned left out of the shop. It held the residue of a smile. His upturned mouth made a different shape of his face. It turned up more on one side than the other. An eyebrow followed suit. A hand went into his silver-tipped hair as the wind blew it asunder. The smile turned into a grimace and made another shape of his face again. His jaw hardened. His forehead bunched. A slow blink of his eyes. And then he was walking toward his black car parked across the street. A blip-blip of the locking system, a flash of lights. Long legs folded away into the driver's side, gone. But a shadow of him lingered in her consciousness. Alfie had been a crush. For months, she'd watched him around the resort, made up stories about him based on tiny scraps of information she'd collected from people who interacted with him. No one knew where he was from. Someone thought he might have been a writer. Someone else said he was a vet. He'd had long hair then, dark red, tied back in a ponytail or sometimes a man bun. He had a small red beard and a big fit body, a tattoo of a climbing rose all the way up his trunk, another of a pair of wings across his shoulders. He often had guitar hanging from a strap around his chest. He rarely rose. Wait, what? He rarely wore a top when he wasn't working. Oh. He had a smile for everyone, a swagger, and a cheek. In Joey's imagination, Alfie Butter was kind of otherworldly. She ascribed to him as a sort of supernatural persona, and tried to imagine what they would talk about if their paths were ever to cross. Then one day he stopped at her at the back of the resort next to the laundry, and his blue eyes had locked onto hers, and he smiled and said, "Joey, right?" She'd said yes, she was Joey. "Someone tells me you're a Bristol girl. Is that right?" "Yes," she said. "Yes, that was right." "Whereabouts? French, eh?" He punched the air. "I knew it," he said. "I just knew it." You know when you get that feeling in your gut and someone said you were from Bristol, and I just thought, French A girl. Gotta be. And I was right. I'm a French A boy. "Wow," she said. "Wow." It was a small world. She told him, "Which school did you go to?" And Alfie had turned out to be neither supernatural nor otherworldly, a vet nor a poet, nor even a very good at playing the guitar, but spectacularly good in bed, and a very good hugger. He'd had her name tattooed on his ankle 2 weeks after their first encounter. He said he never felt like this about anyone in his life, ever. He slung his heavy arm across her shoulder whenever they walked together. He pulled her onto his lap whenever she walked past him. He said he'd follow her to the ends of the earth. Then, when her mother died and she said she wanted to come home, he said he'd follow her back to Bristol. He'd proposed to her after she returned from her mother's funeral. They married 2 weeks after that. But what do you do with an unattainable crush once it's yours to keep? What does it become? Should there perhaps be a word to describe it? Because that's the thing with getting what you want. All that yearning and dreaming and fantasizing leaves a great big hole that can only be filled with more yearning and dreaming and fantasizing. And maybe that's what lay at the root of Joey's sudden and unexpected obsession with Tom Fitzwilliam. Maybe he arrived at the precise moment that the hole in Joey's interior fantasy life needed filling. And if it hadn't been him, maybe it would have been someone else instead. Ooh, we're on chapter 3, guys. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat for a second and take a sip of water. How do teachers talk all day? I'm like, I hope everybody is enjoying the book. Hi, Michelle. How are you? If I missed anybody in here, hi. Okay, one more chapter? I think so, too. All right, you guys, so we are on chapter 3, January 23rd. Whew, okay. Tom Fitzwilliam was 51, and he was, according to Jack, a lovely, lovely man. Not that Joey had asked her brother for his opinion of their neighbor. It had been offered spontaneously, apropos of an article in the local newspaper about an award that the local school had just won. "Oh, look," he said, the paper spread open in front of him on the kitchen table. "That's our neighbor, lives 2 doors down." He tapped a photo with his forefinger. "Tom Fitzwilliam, lovely, lovely man." Joey peered over Jack's shoulder, a half-washed saucepan in one hand, a washing-up sponge in the other. "Oh," she said, "I've seen him, I think. Black car?" "Yes, that's right. He's the headmaster of our local state school, a superhead." He made quotes in the air with his fingers. "Brought in after a bad Ofsted. His school just won something, and now everyone loves him." "That's nice," said Joey. "Do you know him, then?" "Yeah, kind of. He and his wife were very helpful when we were having the building works done. They used to send us texts during the day to let us know what was happening and calm down Some other not so nice neighbors who were getting their knickers in a knot about dust and noise. Nice people. Joey shrugged. Jack thought everyone was nice. So he closed the paper and folded it in half. How did the interview go? Joey slung the tea towel over the side of the sink. It was okay. She applied for a job at the Melville, the famous boutique hotel and bar in the village, front of house manager. The pleasant woman interviewing her could tell from the moment she walked in that she was not fit for the purpose, and Joey had made no effort to convince her otherwise. Glorified receptionist, she said now. Plus 4 night shifts a week? No, thank you. She didn't even look at Jack. Didn't want to witness his reaction to yet more evidence that his little sister was a total loser. She had quite wanted the job. The hotel was beautiful. The owner was nice, and the pay was good. The problem was that she couldn't actually see herself in the job. The problem was her. She was nearly 27. In 3 years' time, she would be 30. She was a married woman, but yet, for some reason, she still felt like a child. Fair enough, he said, turning the pages of the newspaper mechanically. I'm sure something will come up eventually. Bound to, she said, her heart not reaching her words. Then, Jack, are you okay about me and Alfie being here? Like, really? She watched her brother roll his eyes good-naturedly. Joey, for God's sake, how many times do I have to tell you? I love having you here, and Alfie too. It's a pleasure. What about Rebecca, though? Are you sure she's not regretting it? She's fine, Joey. We're both fine. It's all good. Do you promise? Yes, Joey, I promise. Joey got a job 3 days later. It was terrible. Terrible job. But it was a job. She was now a party coordinator at a notoriously rough soft play center in the city called Wackadoo? And Wackadoo. Okay. The uniform was an acid yellow polo shirt with red pull-on trousers. Let me read that part again. The uniform was an acid yellow polo shirt with red pull-on trousers. The pay was reasonable and the hours were fine. The manager was a big, butch woman with a crew cut called Dawn, to whom Joey had taken an instant liking. It could have been worse, of course. It could. Anything could always be worse, but not much. All employees of Wackadoo were required to spend their first week on the floor. Nobody gets to sit in an office here until they've cleaned the toilets halfway through a party for 38-year-old boys, Dawn had said, a grim twinkle in her eye. Can't be any worse than cleaning vomit, coke, and Jaeger bombs off the bar after a 14-hour stag party, Joey had replied. Probably not, Dawn had conceded. Probably not. Can you start tomorrow? Joey stopped in the village on her way home from the interview and ordered herself a large gin and tonic in the cozy bar of the Melville Hotel. It was early for gin and tonic. The man sitting 2 tables away was still having breakfast. She told herself it was celebratory, but in reality she needed something to blunt the edges of her terror and self-loathing. Wackadoo. Windowless cavern of unthinkable noise and bad smells. Breeze-block hellhole of spilt drinks and tantrums, where a child shat in the ball pond at least once a day, apparently. She shuddered and knocked back another glug of gin. The man eating his breakfast looked at her curiously. She blinked at him imperiously. You could see the painted houses from down here. A bolt of running color crossed the tops of the narrow Georgian windows. There was the cobalt blue of Jack and Rebecca's house, the canary yellow of Tom Fitzwilliam's. It was another world up there, rare field, and she, a half-formed woman working on a soft play center. What on earth was she doing up there? She looked down at her bitten nails, her scuffed boots, her old chinos. She thought about the aged pants she was wearing, aged pants she was wearing, the decrepit bra. She knew she was 2 months past a timely trip to the hairdresser. She was drinking gin alone in a hotel bar on a Thursday at not even midday. And then she thought of herself only 5 months ago, tanned and lean, clutching her bouquet. the talcum sand between her toes, the sun shining down from a vivid blue sky, standing at Alfie's side, young, beautiful, in paradise, in love. You are the loveliest thing I've ever seen, her boss had said, wiping a tear from her own cheek. So young, so perfect, so pure. She switched on her phone and scrolled through her gallery until she got into the wedding photos. For a few minutes, she wallowed in the memories of the happiest day of her life, until she heard the bar door open and looked up. It was him, Tom Fitzwilliam, the head teacher. He pulled off his suit jacket and draped it across the back of a chair, resting a leather shoulder bag on the seat. Then, slowly, in a way that suggested either self-consciousness or a complete lack of self-consciousness, he sauntered to the bar. The barman appeared to know him. He made him a lime and soda and told him he'd bring his food to the table when it was ready. Joey watched him walking back to his table. He wore a blue shirt with a subtle check. The bottom buttons, she noticed, strained very gently against a slight softness, and Joey felt a strange wave of pleasure, a sense of excitement about the unapologetic contours of his body, the suggestion of meals enjoyed and worries forgotten about the over a bottle of a decent wine. She found herself wanting to slide her fingers between those tensed buttons, to touch, just for a moment, the soft flesh beneath. The thought shocked her, left her slightly winded. She turned her attention to her gin and tonic, aware that her glass was virtually empty, aware that it was time for her to leave. But she didn't want to move. She couldn't move. She was suddenly stultified by a terrible and unexpected longing. She turned slightly to catch a glimpse of his feet, his ankles, the rumpled cowl of gray cotton sock, the worn hide of black leather lace-up shoes, an inch of pale, bare flesh just there, between the sock and the hem of his trousers, which she'd been aware of him slowly tugging up before sitting down. She was in the hard grip of a shocking physical attraction. She turned her eyes away from his feet and back to her empty glass and then to her wedding photos on her phone, which had only 2% charge left and was about to die. But she couldn't. She simply couldn't sit here staring into an empty gin glass. Not now, not in front of this man. She was aware of him taking papers out of his shoulder bag, shuffling them around, pulling a pen from somewhere, holding it airily away from him in one hand, clicking and unclicking, clicking and unclicking, bringing it down to make a mark on the paper, putting it away from him again. Click, click, one foot bouncing slightly against the fulcrum of the other. She would leave when the waiter came with his food. That's what she'd do, when he was distracted. The screen of her phone turned black, finally giving up its ghost. She slipped it into her handbag and stared at the floor until finally the barman disappeared at the sound of a buzzer somewhere behind him and reappeared a moment later with some kind of sandwich on a wooden board, arranged alongside a glossy hillock of herbs and curly leaves. She saw Tom move paperwork out of the way, smiling generously at the barman. "Thank you," she heard him say as she picked up her jacket and squeezed her way between her chair and the table, almost knocking it over in her neediness to leave without being noticed. "That looks lovely," he was saying as she crossed the bar, her heavy boots making a loud knocking sound against the dove gray floor tiles, the strap of her shoulder bag refusing to sit properly against her shoulder, her trailing jacket knocking over a small display of leaflets about the village farmers market as she passed. The barman called over, "Don't worry, I'll pick 'em up." "Thank you," she said, turning guiltily at his address. She wrenched open the door and threw herself onto the street, but not before, for just one flickering second, her eyes had met his, and something terrible had passed between them. Something she could only describe as mutual fascination. And that was chapter 3. I know, I love the descriptions of everything, you guys. So I need to take a sip of water and take a little break from, what do you guys think so far? Oh. Is this a Lifetime movie book? No. Does it sound like a Lifetime movie? Kind of does, huh? Tea. What, do you guys like it so far? Muse. Oh my goodness. Woohoo! Great job, Breezy. Thank you, Melissa. If I've missed anybody's comments, I am so sorry. I was reading and now I'm finally getting fun read so far. I like it. I believe it is written in the human's eye, nothing wrong with that. Or in the woman's eye, nothing wrong with that. Yes. He's a brat. Be good, Hubert. Yes, very much so. I feel like it reminds me of The Girl on the Train. Did you all ever read that? No, you guys, I have so many books to catch up on because I used to read a lot, like a lot. And then obviously when I was in my addiction, I stopped reading. So like, I'm just getting back into it fully and I love it. I love the excitement it gives me. Like, it's just so great. I hope she doesn't do the thing. I know, I love the writing and the description to imagine. Yes. I hope she doesn't do the thing. I just kicked him out of the club. But also, girl, do the thing. Exactly. Okay, I kind of want to read one more chapter. What do you guys think? Oh my gosh, the chapters are short. So, do you guys want to just read up until, oh, you're welcome, Melissa. Do you guys just want to read up until 4:30 when I have to go? And then what we'll do is next Tuesday we could stay on longer and talk about everything we've read and, what do you guys think? Go for it. Do it. Okay. I'm going to read away. If I have to take like 2.5 second breaks for water, I'm sorry. I know I'm into it too. It's different. It's so different. And it's nice to, not be so focused on the chaos of foodie booty. Okay. So we're at chapter 4. Are you guys ready? Chapter 4, and this is January 26th. Joey stared at Alfie sitting on the bed, cross-legged, the laptop open and balanced on his knees. His once flowing red locks were short now, growing back from the brutal crew cut he'd inflicted on himself when they got back to the UK that had made his head look suddenly slightly too small for his body. His lower face was covered in a mulch of 4-day stubble. He was wearing a gray vest with deep-cut armholes that showed off most of his tattoos and a pair of old Gap underpants. He was huge, a solid brick wall of a man. Even sitting on a slightly fey bed, he looked like is it Celtic warrior? A Celtic warrior who'd forgotten to get dressed. Oh. She scrutinized his hard young man's body, and then she thought of Tom Fitzwilliam's soft, grown-up body, and she wondered what would happen to Alfie's hard body as the years passed. Would he turn to fat or into sinew? Would he still be Alfie Butter, crap guitarist, brilliant hugger, hopeless painter and decorator, big-hearted romantic, attentive lover? Or would he be someone else? How could it be possible that she didn't know? That no one can tell her? That she would just have to trust in the universe to bring everything to some kind of satisfactory conclusion? How could it be? Joey felt her brain swell and roil. She thought of her nasty wackadoo uniform, the smell of fried nuggets and boys' toilets. She thought of Tom Fitzwilliam, the click, click, click of his ballpoint pen. She thought of the feeling that had enveloped her when he was in the bar, the feeling that had taken her to the most part of the afternoon and evening to purge. She thought of her mother, the lack of her, the loss, and she felt suddenly, dreadfully out of control. "Are you okay?" said Alfie, looking at her curiously. Mm-hmm. You sure? Yeah, she said, making herself smile. Sure. Possibly having a tiny baby shit job missing a visa crisis, but nothing worse than that. Come here, he said, big freckled arms spread apart. I'll hug it away for you. I have no idea what this word is, you guys. A quiz? A, mm-hmm. Although part of her wanted to shout, a hug is not always the right answer, you know. But as she felt his arms around her, his warm breath against the crown of her head, she thought that it might not be an answer, but it was certainly better than yet another question. She stopped at the corner shop on her way home the next day. It was the end of the first day of her new job, and she felt rubbed raw by the rudeness of people, the loudness of children, the lack of sunlight, the sheer length of the day. She wanted to go home and shower, put on joggers and a hoodie, and drink a cup of tea. But mainly she wanted wine. Lots of wine. As she turned into the booze aisle of the shop, she saw Tom Fitzwilliam's wife. What was her name again? Jack had told her, but she couldn't remember. Something beginning with an N, she thought. She had her hand in the chilled drinks cabinet, about to pull out a bottle of cold mineral water. She was flushed, her hair sweaty and tied back, wearing shiny black leggings and a black fitted top that revealed a slightly sinewy overworked out physique. On her wrist was a lipstick pink fitness tracker. On her feet were bright white sneakers. She turned slightly as she became aware of Joey's eyes upon her. She smiled coolly, then took the bottle to the till at the other side of the shop. Joey could hear her from here, chatting to the cashier. She was well-spoken with a slightly northern slant to some of her words. She told the cashier that she just started running again. A New Year's resolution, after a broken ankle the year before, had put her out of action. It was wonderful, she said, to be pounding the pavement again. She always felt out of sorts when she wasn't running regularly. 2 miles a day cleared out the cobwebs, she said. Got the cogs turning. Joey peered around the corner of the cereal aisle to get a better look at the woman Tom Fitzwilliam had chosen to marry. She looked weightless, sprite-like. Everything about her was delicate, sinuous, as though she'd been drawn with sharpened pencils. Joey was small, but Tom's wife was doll-like, with hair as fine as a gossamer and a button nose. She imagined those tiny hands grasping his soft waist. She wondered if he'd ever been unfaithful to her. She wondered how often they had sex. She imagined suddenly this tiny child's toy of a woman astride her big, handsome husband, her head tipped back. She grabbed a bottle of something cheap with a screw-top lid and took it quickly to the till. As she walked back up the hill toward the painted houses, she saw Tom's wife just ahead of her. A matchstick silhouette clutching a bottle of water, shoulders hunched against the bitter January wind. And there, high above, in the pale backlight of a top-floor window in the Fitzwilliams house, she saw a small beam of light, the movement of a person, the fall of a heavy curtain, sudden darkness. Ooh. Oh my gosh, it is just like Alanis Morissette's song. It's meeting the man of my dreams, and then meeting his beautiful wife. Isn't that ironic? Oh my gosh. This book is so good. So what do you guys think so far? Water. Back, here we go. We are on chapter 5, January 27th. Freddie Fitzwilliam switched off his digital binoculars, let the curtain drop, and wheeled his chair back across the bedroom floor, from the window to his computer. There was a shiny track in the carpet now recording the many journeys he'd made by office chair from one side of his room to the other. He was the captain of his own ship up here, in his attic room with his sweeping views across the village and the river valley and the landscape beyond. The digital binoculars had been a Christmas gift from his mom and dad. They had revolutionized his life. He could now clearly see Jenna Tripp's road from here. He could also see the dimpled glass of Bess Ridley's bathroom, which occasionally shimmered and radiated with the suggestion of naked flesh behind. He could see Jenna and Bess meeting up each morning outside Jenna's house in their tacky academy uniforms, short skirts, bare legs, even in the chill of January, linking arms, sharing earbuds, gossip. He could even see what flavor of Pringles they were eating. Freddie didn't go to the academy where his dad was headmaster. He went to a private boys' school on the other side of town that took him half an hour to walk every morning. He'd been in Melville for 1 year and 1 month and mold, since he'd woken up from his old house in mold and been told they were moving to Bristol and that they were moving next week and that no, they weren't coming back. His dad was a big-wig head teacher. The government sent him all over the country to special measure schools that were on the brink of being shut down because they were so. Do you guys care if I cuss since it's a book? It's a book. Okay. The government sent him all over the country to the special measure schools that were on the brink of being shut down because they were so effing terrible. This one had been so effing terrible that they'd had to sack the old head and have him walked off his premises the same day. Something to do with embezzling school funds, something really bad. At first, Freddie had hated it here. His school was shit. It looked like a prison and it smelled worse. The teachers were all really old and very British, not like his former school where they'd been mostly fresh-faced Europeans. He liked European teachers. He could impress them by talking to them in their mother tongues. They always loved that. He could get away with murder if he could compliment a teacher in fluent Spanish or whatever. Freddie could speak 7 languages: English, French, Spanish, German, Italian, Mandarin, and Welsh. The Welsh he picked up when they lived in the mold. I keep saying in the mold. In mold. The rest he taught himself. He could also speak in about 20 different accents to such an extent that locals couldn't tell he was putting it on. He was going to join M15 when he left university. His parents had been telling him all his life that the government would love a clever little bastard like him, and he tended to agree with them. What else could he possibly do with all these brains, all these facts, the constant spin and bubble of his brilliant mind? It had to go somewhere. And of course, the digital binoculars and smartwatch spy camera, and the spy glasses, and the spy software built into his Samsung Galaxy had played right into the whole Freddie's going to be a spy narrative, and that he and his parents had been writing for nearly 15 years. And at first, that was what he'd use them for. Oh, Freddie is Tom's son, from what I'm understanding. I'm sorry, Janet, if you don't like it. We're going to be doing different books. Okay. Do you guys know the last thing what was the last paragraph? And his parents have been writing for nearly 15 years. Is that where I left off? And at first that was what he used them for. That's it. Okay. In the absence of any friends or any real desire to have friends, Freddie had spent the past year or so compiling a dossier called the Melville Papers, a kind of quasi-local paper about the local community. In it, he reported on the comings and goings in Lower Melville as seen from his perch at the top of the house. He logged the visitors to the Melville Hotel once he had seen Kate Blanchett going in. She was really, really small. He logged the dog walkers. White-haired man with miniature schnauzer left home at 8 p.m., returned 8:27. And the joggers, 2 middle-aged women with big bottoms left home at 7:30, returned 8:45. Bought expensive crisps from the deli. He logged the occasional infraction of the law, a dog walker failing to collect their dog's poo, countless episodes of double parking or parking on the zigzag lines by the zebra crossing, at least 3 shoplifting episodes, once of which had ended with the shopkeeper chasing the man all the way to the other side of the village before most having a heart attack. But recently, Freddie had found his focus shifting from the humdrum and the day-to-day there were after only so many times he could make a note of the white-haired man walking his miniature schnauzer before it stopped being interesting. Nowadays, Freddie found most of his attention being taken up by logging girls. It was strange because Freddie had never liked girls. Not ever. A dislike of girls had, in fact, been one of his defining characteristics. He had assumed that not liking girls was his default setting. But apparently not. Jenna and Bess were the 2 prettiest girls in the village by far. Jenna was tall and athletically built with fine dark hair and quite a big bust. Bess was small with what appeared to be naturally blonde hair that were quite short with bangs that hung in her eyes. They were older than Freddie, year 11 to his year 10. He spent most of his time logging them now. He knew what nights they did after school, what clubs. Wait, let me see. He spent most of his time logging them now. He knew what nights they did after school clubs, what days they did PE, what their favorite Starbucks drinks were, and how often they changed their earrings. Yes, Jenna and Bess were by far his favorites. But there was someone new now. She'd moved into the blue house 2 doors down a few weeks ago, and she was really pretty. He'd first seen her in the restaurant at the Melville down in the village where he was having dinner with his mom and dad. She'd been with a man. He was big and rough looking with shaved red hair and tattoos that you could see through the fabric of his shirt. Freddie had heard her first, her Bristol accent, a loud laugh. He'd been intrigued, turned his head just a few degrees to check her out. She was wearing a floaty top, drinking wine. She had a really full mouth, big white teeth, white blonde hair in a mussy bun, gold hoop earrings, small feet, and blood-red suede boots with little tassels. Did you guys get that? And that was what he called her while he tried to find a way to discover her real name. He called her Red Boots. He was watching her now. He'd watched her get off the bus in the village, then lost her for a while before picking her up again, trailing a few feet behind his mom up the hill. He zoomed in tighter and tighter until he was close enough to see what she looked like. Oh, that she looked terrible. And now as he uploaded the film onto his laptop, he zoomed in further still, and there in one frame, he saw a yellow t-shirt worn underneath a big, ugly coat. He went right in on it. There was a familiar yellow and red of a Wackadoo logo. He passed Wackadoo every morning on his way to school, a big yellow breeze block building with a huge plastic toucan outside. It was for kids or something. Christ, he thought, Red Boots is working at Wackadoo. What kind of crap job was that? He saved the film into the top secret folder that no one in his house was even halfway clever enough to uncover. Then he went downstairs to ask his mom what he was having for supper. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. So the red tassel that the investigator found in the blood, right? Like, I'm just tying all this together now. Help, she is holding the door shut. I can't hear her. Oh, Janet, yeah, I didn't stream this past Saturday just because life got busy. But this Saturday, if you find this boring, Amanda will be back on talking about energy, healing, crystals, dreams, everything like that, meditation. So yeah, if book club isn't for you, then Saturday hopefully will be. And we'll also talk about foodie beauty. Oh my gosh, this book is so good, you guys. Do you like it so far? Oh, the Moderate Carb Maven. Okay, thank you. I know she covers foodie, but it's nice to have a variety as well as a channel. I react and do fitness vlogs. Very cool. Let's see. That's awesome. I'll check out your account. I've been getting into fitness lately. I'll check out your account too. Love it. I love it too, Erin. Oh my gosh. I'm really enjoying it. Me too. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I almost want to read. Okay, let's do it. We're going to read chapter 6, and then we'll end there. And also, I wanted to run something past you guys about having like guest readers. If you guys want to take a turn, like, yeah, let's do one more chapter. It's good so far. Things are starting to come together. Exactly. Yeah, it took a couple chapters, but now, oh my gosh, now it's coming together, and now I am hooked. You're loving it too, Muse. Good. Tell Hubert he's a party pooper. Just kidding. Thank you. I was pre-diabetic, lost 65 pounds, reversed pre-diabetes and all that stuff. Thank you for being willing to check me out. I definitely am going to check you out. When I get home tonight, I will subscribe to your channel. I am so excited to look at it. If whenever I could get a book, I'd love to guest read. I wonder how much it is on, like, do you have a Kindle or... We should do, you know what, this brings up a really good point because everybody's not always going to be able to afford a book when they want to. Maybe like once a month, like we could sponsor somebody and get them the book that we're going to read and help people out, if that makes sense. Yeah, I got mine on Amazon Prime. I think it was like $9, I want to say, but they have a Kindle version that's cheaper. Which if you can download it onto something, that would be better. I'd guest read too. Awesome. Yeah, I think it would be fun to have guest readers. Because my voice isn't always going to be here every Tuesday. I mean, I'm going to be here, but, you know, things happen. And I just think it would be nice to have a variety. Oh, Harlem is going to go sub to you at the moderate carb maven. So X equals 6. Yes, exactly. You guys, and this will start to flow better. I mean, we're all just doing this for the first time here. So, I mean, on this channel, I'm sure you guys are in book clubs, other places, but we'll learn together. We'll get a flow going. I'm having a blast so far. So let's see. Included in Scribe membership too. That would be amazing to do for people. I will poke around and see where I can find it. Yeah, let's maybe we could sponsor somebody because I know it's hard, you know, especially when people have families or if they're out of a job. COVID's been really, this whole thing has been hard on everybody. And I just want everybody to have an opportunity to have a book, whether, you know, I just included in this. No worries, they will always be food and beauty talk. Always, yes. Oh, I have house dimension of death. Oh, bruh. I'm so glad you're here, Moderate Carb Maven. Thank you. I was kind of hoping for a reading of Dr. Seuss. Yes, I'll make that a video. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you guys, let's do chapter 6. I think it's only like it's like 3 pages. So let's do chapter 6 and then, yeah. I blame COVID for the reaction community is going insane. Oh, it is going insane. It's just been a crazy, crazy past few weeks, it seems like. I blame COVID for everything, me too. All right, so let's read chapter 6 before we go, you guys. And let's see. Computer, you go to the right of me. Hi, Chachi. Okay, take your little nap while I... Okay, so chapter 6, February 3rd. Janet Tripp kicked off her black sneakers and knotted her nylon tie, dropped her rucksack at the bottom of the stairs, pulled the hairband from her ponytail, rubbed at her aching scalp with her fingertips, and called out for her mom. In here! She peered around the door into the living room. Her mom was perched on the edge of the leather sofa, the laptop on the coffee table in front of her, a notepad to one side of her phone on the other. Her pale gold hair was pulled back into a ponytail. She looked pretty with her hair off her face. You could see the fine angles of her bone structure, the shadowy dip below each cheekbone, the delicacy of her jawline. She'd been a model for a short while in her teens. There was a framed photo of her modeling a bikini on a windswept beach, nailed to the wall outside Jenna's bedroom. Her arms were wrapped tight around her body. It had been November, apparently, and she was smiling up to the sky above. She was pure joy to behold. Check out there, will you? She said, now sucking in her e-cigarette. and releasing a thick trail of berry-scented vapor. "Can you see a blue Lexus? One of those hatchbacks?" Jenna sighed and pulled back one drawn curtain. She looked left and right around small turning where their cottage was, and then back at her mom. "No blue Lexus," she said. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she replied, "I'm sure. There's a blue Ford Focus, but that's the only blue car out there." "Oh, that's Mike's car. That's fine." She didn't ask her mom more about the blue Lexus. She knew what her mom thought about the blue Lexus. She let the curtain drop and went into the kitchen. She boiled water in the kettle and made herself a low-calorie hot chocolate into which she dropped a small handful of marshmallows. She recently learned that marshmallows were surprisingly low in calories. And then she took the hot chocolate, her school bag, and her phone to her room. She stopped on the way to study the photo of her mom, Frances Tripp, or Frankie Miller, as she'd been known in her modeling and acting days. She changed back to Frances in her 20s when she'd married Jenna's dad and started campaigning for animal rights. He told her it would give her more gravitas. Jenna wished she'd known the girl in the photo, the carefree beauty with the wind in her hair and the sky reflected in her shining eyes. She reckoned she'd have liked her. "By the way," her mother's girlish voice followed her up the stairs to the landing. "Yes? Did you change the bulb in your vanity mirror?" Jenna paused before she replied, her shoulders falling. "No," she said, although it would have been easier in some ways to say yes. "Right," said her mom. "Odd. Very odd." Jenna opened the door to her bedroom, slipped through, and closed it behind her before she got pulled away into any further conversation about the bulb in her vanity mirror. There was a Snapchat from Bess on her phone. It was a photo of her holding the local paper next to her face, pulling a kissy face at the photo of Mr. Fitzwilliam on page 8. She scribbled a pink love heart around both of them. Jenna tutted. Seriously, what was wrong with the girl? Mr. Fitzwilliam was so old. "He has charisma," Bess had said once. "Plus he smells good." "How do you know how he smells?" "I made a point of sniffing when I'm close, and he does this thing." "What thing?" Jenna said. "This thing with his pen. He clicks it." Bess had mimed clicking a pen. "He clicks it? Yeah, it's hot." "You're on gloomy, I swear," she replied to Bess's message now. "Meth head." Did I just skip a page, you guys? No, I didn't. Okay. Bess replied with a sequence of crystal emojis. Jenna smiled and put her phone on her bedside table to charge. Bess was the best friend in the world. The best friend she'd ever had. They were like sisters, like twins. She'd known Bess for 4 years, ever since her mom and dad had split up and she'd drawn the short straw and moved to Lower Melville with her mom, while her little brother Ethan had stayed with dad in Weston Supermare. Not that there was anything wrong with Lower Melville, the cottage, or what Jenna's mom referred to as a cottage, but was actually a tired post-war terrace with pebble-dashed walls. It was in fact the house her mom had grown up in. And while the cottage was as scruffy as it had always been, the village around it no longer was. Kids at her school thought she was posh because she lived here. They were so wrong. "Jen!" She closed her eyes at the sound of her mother's voice climbing up the stairs. "Jenna!" "Yes?" "Check out the back, will you? Tell me if that man's still sitting in his window." She drew her breath and held it hard inside her for as long as she could. "Why?" "You know why." She didn't know why, but sometimes she needed her mom to find the words to explain these obsessions, in the hope that it might wake her up to the nonsense of what she was saying. She let her breath out, put down her hot chocolate, and knelt on her bed. There was a man sitting in his window at the back of the terrace that faced the end of their garden. He was side on and absorbed in something on a screen in front of him. She watched him lift a teacup to his lips, take a sip, put the cup back down, run his hand briefly around the back of his neck, and then start moving his fingers over a keyboard. "No," she shouted down to her mother. "There's no one there. No man." There was a beat of silence filled, Jenna assumed, not with feelings of relief, but with disappointment. "Good," her mother said a moment later. "Good. Let me know if he comes back." "I will." "Thanks, darling." Jenna's phone pinged. Another Snapchat from Bess, the photo of Mr. Fitzwilliam from the paper. his face covered in Bess's lipstick kisses. Jenna smiled and sent another message. You are madder than my mom. Oh, I'm missing a bunch in here. So we ended. So we'll read chapter 7 next week, and I'm sure more chapters. These are small enough chapters. We could probably get through this book really fast, you guys. So what do we think? Is there any suggestions that you guys would have? I know this is so bizarre to hear a book referring to Snapchat. I feel old too. I have to take the dog out. It's going to be a cliffhanger. Hubert. Maybe we could do a quickly. Okay, do you guys want to do that? So like we'll read. Oh no. Are you guys still there? Oh no, what did I do? Oh no. Oh, you guys are still here. Oh my gosh. I thought I clicked out. That was a really good, okay. That was a really good start to our book club. I'm really enjoying the flow. I like it too. You know, when you do things the first time, you always got to work out the kinks and everything. Like I'm 56 and don't read new stuff. It feels dated, but in a good way. Snapchat. You're still here. Good. Thank you, you guys. Yay, I'm so glad you're still here. The Breezy Bookies. Oh my gosh. Can that be our name? That's iconic. Oh my gosh. You can't get rid of us that easy. No, I don't want to get rid of you guys. I just want to know how you guys want things to be. Like 1 week, we read, let's say, for example, this is just 7 chapters. And then the next week we could talk about everything. And then read a little bit more. And then how does that sound? That has to be the name for the titles followed by what we're reading. Breezy Bookies. Oh my gosh. That's good. Yes. I'm so glad you guys like this. I have and so there's other books I have too we could read if you guys ever want to switch it up and like 1 week we could read this. I don't know. I am so open to however you guys want to do this. Breezy Bookies. That makes it sound like we're legally gambling. I love it. Does that mean I get to be called the bookkeeper? Oh my gosh. That sounds good to me. We'll give a little synopsis for anyone tuning in that's not tuned in. Sounds perfect. This is fun. I love that we are from all over the place and can connect to. Yes, I agree. And like I said, it's just so nice to do something different. Think about something, get lost in a story. I'm so excited to see how this unfolds. We're her mini bookies and she's the boss bookie. I love it. Oh my gosh. I don't like that people, like against Friday, they don't have to watch. The universe isn't run by the girls. True. Okay, yeah. So we'll do but one book all the way through. True. That was my like ADHD wanting to like 1 week we can do this book and then the next week you can read the encyclopedia and then the next week. So thank you, Love My Ferals, for bringing me back down to reality. Yes, one book. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to do this again. So Saturday, if you guys are going to be tuning in to ask Amanda questions, the last live we did, if you guys have any questions for Amanda, go ahead and put them under that. I know some people had questions about meditation and healing. And then what day should we get together, you guys, to just have a good old tea sesh, spilling the tea? I know. See you guys Saturday. I'm so excited. Oh, you're welcome, Erin. Thank you for... No problem, G. Seriously, no problem. Let's read more tomorrow. What is... I think I can actually read more tomorrow. Let me see. Is Rachel in here? Oh my gosh, thank you, Rachel. Somebody just sent me like a little Cash App thing. That was really nice. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to look at my calendar for tomorrow. I could read. We can go on tomorrow if you guys want to. Okay. Thank you, G. She could schedule it and not even have to be awake. She's not in here, but if you come in here, I know. Thank you, Rachel. If you come in here and see this at all, like that was awesome and amazing. Thank you so much. We can go live tomorrow for a bit and like we could talk, read, whatever you guys want to do. All right, tomorrow, should we do it a little bit? Should we do 2 p.m.? Okay, so stick with Tuesdays so it doesn't become random. So Tuesdays could be book club. Wednesday at 2 o'clock, you guys want to do like tea time? Okay, so this is how every Tuesday is going to be strictly for book club. Tuesdays at 3. Wednesdays, it could be Wednesday tea time from like 2 to 3. 2 to 3:30. We love tea tomorrow tea time, yeah. Okay, let's do 2 o'clock tomorrow. Or should I just always keep things at like 3 o'clock? Does that help you guys? Except for Saturdays, because I don't know, that's just always known it's at 4. Yeah, I could do 1 o'clock my time tomorrow. 1 p.m. you guys tomorrow? Woohoo! All right, well, thank you everybody for coming. And again, like everything, we'll get all the kinks worked out. I'm just glad everybody had a good time. 1 year time sounds good. That's 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 10 p.m. UK. All right, 1 p.m. See you guys tomorrow at 1. I hope you guys are having a great day, great evening, wherever you are. And you guys, I'm sure there'll be a video from me tonight. You guys know that. Oh, yes, before we go, make sure to go back and leave questions for Amanda on the last stream. She was the guest hosting. Yes, you guys, if you have any questions for Amanda. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you tomorrow at 1.